All right, to complete this lesson, you should have the document I posted in Google Classroom up. It looks like the video screen. I would also suggest having a calculator or a piece of scrap paper because you're going to need to do some pretty simple math. All right, today's lesson is understanding and telling time using BCE and CE because I have come to find out that many ninth graders are confused on how to do this. So if you're confused, this lesson's for you. If you think you understand it, this is probably a good refresher. All right, we're going to start over here on the left. So for many years, the BC and AD system was used, which is probably what some of you are familiar with. BC stands for before Christ, and AD is Latin, meaning the year of the Lord, or the year that Jesus was born. So this timeline, the BC AD system, is based around the birth of Jesus. Okay, we would live in the AD period. This system, the BC AD system, has been replaced by the BCE CE system. Okay, that's because this system, the BCE CE system, is not, based on a religion. Okay, only 30% of the world would consider themselves Christian. Okay, the other 70% of the world would consider themselves either no religion or a religion other than Christianity. So the BC AD system that refers to Christ and the year of our Lord is really only appropriate for 30% of the world Christians. So the BC AD system has kind of been frowned upon and is kind of, exiting the stage and being replaced by the BCE system. So BCE stands for before Common Era and CE stands for Common Era. This brings us to our first skill. Okay, if you see something in the BC or AD system, you should be able to convert it to the BC or CE system, which is pretty easy. Okay, BC becomes BCE. So 9000 BC would become 9000 BCE. All right, 5000 BC, would become 5000 BCE. These two you can complete on your own. Same thing for AD. AD would become CE. So a date that is 50 AD would be 50 CE. A date that's 1500 AD would be 1500 CE. Okay. These dates would refer to the same time period, just like these dates would refer to the same time period. It's just which system is being used. BC AD, a system based on Christianity, or BCE CE, a more secular system that is not based on religion. So converting from BC to AD to BCE or CE is pretty easy. I feel like we can do these other two on our own. All right, I would also like us to note that time works like a number line. Okay, the only difference is in time, there's no year zero. All right. What basically happened is you had different societies that, invented writing or time at different, times in their development. So if you were in Rome, you might think it's 1 year, and if you were in China, it might be a different year. So they basically decided to standardize this and be like, anything that happened before this date is BCE, like a negative. And anything that happened after this standardization of time would be CE or AD, like a positive number on a number line. So I think thinking of time, BCE or CE, as the fact that it's similar to a number line can be helpful to many students. All right, the second skill we're going to go over is being able to tell time for events that both happened in CE. Okay, so this is like we're just dealing with the positive side of a number line now. If we were going to make this into a timeline, we would have more, numbers or dates all the way up until the year 2020. All right, so I'm going to use a timeline of TikTok's rise. All right, TikTok started in 2016 in China. By the year 2020, only 4 short years later, TikTok reaches 800 million monthly active users. That is pretty crazy, and that's all over the world. That's not just the US. Okay, so how long would it take from the beginning of the founding of TikTok to 800 million users? Well, we can look at this and see it's 4 years, So basically what we did is we took 2020 and subtracted 2016, and it took 4 years from the founding of TikTok for TikTok to get 800 million active users. All right, so this stuff is pretty simple. You just subtract the larger number from the smaller number. So how much time elapsed between the election of Barack Obama and the election of Donald Trump? Well, you just take the larger number, 2016, and subtract the smaller number, 2008, okay, and you get 8. It is 8 years between the election of Barack Obama and the election of Donald Trump. Number 10, how much time elapsed between the invention of the printing press, 1450 CE, and the invention of the World Wide Web, 1991 CE? Same thing, you take the larger number, subtract the smaller number, and this is where a calculator or some scrap paper comes in handy. Luckily, I don't have to borrow right now. So we can see that, not 4, 5. We can see that it was 541 years between the invention of the printing press and the invention of the World Wide Web. I would encourage you to pause the video now and complete 11 and 12. Let's actually not do number 12, because that's going to be another skill. So if you are able to complete number 12, excellent. If not, that's my mistake. All right, part 1C, telling time if both events are in BCE, or before Common Era, also known previously as BC. So in this, we're just dealing with the negative side of a number line. All right, and we have this little timeline here. I know it's not as cool as TikTok, but we have our ancient civilizations, which we'll be learning about in a little bit. Saying ancient Mesopotamia started in 350 BCE, lasted all the way to 500 BCE. All right, so you might see a timeline where everything is happening in BCE, or the negative side of a number line. So if you want to find the difference between two events and both are in BCE, it's pretty similar. Again, you just subtract the larger number from the smaller number. So how much time elapsed between the domestication of dogs, 40,000 BCE, and the domestication of cows, 10,000 BCE? We can just take the bigger number, 40,000, subtract the smaller number, get 30,000, and now I know that it was 30,000 years between the domestication of dogs and the domestication of cows. Number 14, okay, same thing. We got two dates in BCE. What is the difference in time from the invention of the plow and the invention of the wheel? All right, we just take the bigger number, 3,500, subtract 1,000, and we get 2,500. It was 2,500 years from the invention of the wheel to the invention of the plow. So the wheel was invented first. All right, I would pause the video and complete 15 and 16. All right, it gets a little more confusing if you have two events and one happens in BCE, or the negative side, and then you have another event that happens in CE, or the positive side of a number line. All right, and now we got our timeline here. We have prehistory. Right now we're learning about the Paleolithic era. We're going to quickly go into the Neolithic era. At some point we will go into the Ancient Age, the Medieval Age, and we will probably end somewhere right around here. Okay, the Modern Age would begin with Columbus discovering America in 1492. And then the year zero, would be somewhere in here. So like everything over here is like CE or AD, CE, AD, or the positive side of a number line. And everything over here is BCE, which used to be known as BC, or the negative side of a number line, right? So if you want to find out how many years separate two events, and one event happened in BCE and one event happened in CE, you just need to add the absolute value of each number together, which I will role model here. How much time elapsed between the invention of gunpowder, the year 900, and the invention of archery, 20,000 BCE? So that's kind of like a negative number. And if we take the absolute value of a negative number, we get a positive number. So we would add 20,900, and you get 20,900. 20,900 years passed between the invention of archery in 20,000 BCE and the invention of gunpowder in 900 CE. Number 18. What is the difference in time between the birth of Confucius in 550 BCE and the birth of Columbus in 1550 CE? So we have a CE date, that's like the positive side over here. We have a BCE date, that's like the negative side. And we just need to add the absolute value. So instead of thinking of BCE as negative, we'll just say it's positive, the absolute value, 550. And we have Columbus, and the year 1450 was born. If we add those together, we get 2,000. Look at that, a nice round number. There's 2,000 years between the birth of Confucius in China and the birth of Christopher Columbus in Italy. You could now pause the video and complete 19 and 20. All right, that stuff was pretty easy. We're going to go on to practical skills. All right, you see dates of when people was born. You can use the skills we just talked about to determine how old they are when they died. So you have Alexander the Great, born 356 BCE, died 323 BCE. So we have two BCE dates. So that's like the negative side of a number line. He would have been born in 356, died in 323. So how old was he when he died? We can take 356, subtract 323. He was only 33 years old when he died. All right, Rosa Parks. Now we have two dates in the CE time period. So that's like the positive end of a number line. And she was born in 1913. She died in 2005. So how old was she when she died? You can take the larger number, 2005, subtract the smaller number, 1913. How old was she when she died? You got a 2. Oh, I finally have to borrow. Looks like she was a whopping 92 years old when she died. That's pretty old. All right, I would pause the video and do 23 through 27. All right, 28, Augustus. Now we have a BCE and a CE date. So how old was Augustus, one of the rulers of the Roman Empire, when he died? So this is like, you have a number line. We have he died in the year 14 CE, but he would have been born in a BCE date, so like the negative side of a number line. 63. So just like we did in part 1D, where we took the absolute value, we will be doing the same thing. So we take 63, instead of it being negative, the absolute value, and then we're going to add 14 to it. Augustus was 77 years old when he died. Okay, another practical skill for time is how long ago something happened. For this, you just take the event that something happened and subtract the year of the event from the current year. That's going to be if the event happened in CE, like number 29. So how long ago was the birth of George Washington? All right, we're going to take the current year, 2020, and subtract from it the year of the event. In this case, the event is the birth of George Washington, 1732. So how long ago was George Washington born? And again, you can use your cell phone or a calculator here. Right? Unfortunately, I got to do some borrowing. All right, we have 8. According to my math, George Washington was born 288 years ago. All right, if the event happened in BCE, it's a little different. You got to add the current year to the event. So we have the invention of paper. All right, we have our number line, the year 0, okay, BCE, so that would be negative. Right, and we're saying paper was invented in the year 100 BCE. Right, and then the current date is the year 2020. So how long ago was the invention of paper? You just add the current year to the event. All right, so we have 2020, add 100, and we get 2120. Paper was invented 2120 years ago. So you can pause this video and complete 31 and 32. Feel free to go back and watch, the video again, or just scroll back a minute or two if you want to be reminded how we did 29 and 30. And really, we're doing this video for the practical skill in 3C, chronological order. Can we place events in chronological order? Right. So we have 4 events here. Looks like we have 2 CE events and 2 BC events. So how would we put this in chronological order? Again, I would think of it as a number line, with CE events being on the positive end and BC events being on the negative end. So now we can kind of put these in. All right, let's start with the most recent event. All right, we have 1765. All right, 1765. All right, oh, we have another CE event, 64. We have 2 BCE events, and we have 1334. And then lastly, cuneiform. That's a writing system we'll talk about this year, invented in the year 3500 BCE. So we have our events in order. We have 1, cuneiform, 3000 BCE. Then we have King Tut begins to rule Egypt in 1334 BCE. The next event would be the Great Fire of Rome in 64 CE, and then the American Revolution in 1765 CE. Same thing for 36. How could we put these in chronological order? All right. I would say we have, the number line or timeline might be helpful again. CE events go on the right. BC events would go on the left. So what's the event with like the biggest BCE number? That would be the cave paintings, which we've actually seen in this class. So the first event here, the oldest event, would be the cave paintings from 15,000 BCE. And we have the Great Pyramid, 2,500 BCE. The next event out of these four would be the end of the Crusades in 1492 CE. Martin Luther giving his speech, I Have a Dream speech, in 1963 CE. I'm going to ask you to do the last two on your own. Again, if you have any questions, you should email me, and feel free to, scroll this video back if you want to watch any part of it the second time.